Okay, thank you very much, Ajit and Shraddhan, for setting up the foundation of how the platform works. So, here is our team. So, I'll be taking you guys through leave, attendance, and shift management. Wherein, if I talk about leave management, any organization requires a admin level configuration, right? Wherein HR or an organization admin will go and configure certain leave types, right? And also, Vijay, can you take to that? Okay, so Chandan had given us a walkthrough, like how do we go and configure initial organization data. But let me speak specific to leave types. So any organization will have dedicated leave types that has to be configured. The very as an user, maybe we will go and configure casual leave, compensatory off, and other leaves, and then we configure something called leave structures. Right? Leave structures are nothing but we create different structures. For example, let's say if you have an accrual leaves, right? For example, every quarterly we have to add some 2 or 3 leaves to an employee, right? Basis that we create leave structures and we can assign leave structures to an employee, right? So till now what we have seen how an employee data and core HRMS workflows come together. But now let us put that in in terms of employee experience, how do they go and use the employee portal and how do they go and apply leaves, right? For example, as a employee, I'll have to log in to my portal and then we have an option called leaves wherein I can go and supply whether I have to apply for a casual leave or I have to apply for a compensatory leave, any sort of leaves. And then maybe once I submit the form, I'll have to submit the leave request, right? So when I submit the leave request, the very next step is it will send a approval request for their respective manager, right? In this case, now I think we have logged in as a manager, wherein if you can see, there is a manager login called Vijay, and he can see the leave request that a subordinate has requested, right? For example, okay, now as a manager, I do see two leave request. I can go and see an individual history also. Let's say if this employee has taken any previous leaves, and also I can go and track what number of leaves they have taken on which date, right? Now, as a manager, I have two options whether I can go and approve or reject. And while I do the approval, I can go and give the appropriate reason also. Right? So, the second thing is, as and when this transaction happen on the system will also send an email notification and in-app notification to an end user. For example, if you go back to portal, Vijay, yeah. So these are in-app notifications which are generated through system, and also system sends an email notification to an end user wherein they can go and directly reach out to the portal and then access that, right? Yeah, we can switch back to. Yeah, so that's it from leave management, wherein an employee can log in into portal, apply for leaves, and any leave that they request will be sent as an approval to their manager, and manager can go ahead and approve and reject. Now, if I talk a bit about next module, which is shift masters, right? How do we manage shift as an employee? What any organization will do, organization will go and generate specific shift for their employee base, right? For example, let's say we work only from 9 to 6 and we work in daytime. But what if there is an organization who has rotational shifts? For example, they can create an shift for let's say coming month we will have a morning shift, and the subsequent month of that, let us say we'll have an evening shift. In that cases, we can create something called as shift rotation, right? For example, if you see in this example what we have done, we have created a cycle of 20 days wherein we have highlighted as morning shift from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Saturday, Sundays are off, right? So this is a open configuration available wherein, let's say, even if we as an organization who works on weekend, that means we can go and configure, right? For example, some organizations will have Saturdays as working days, or optionally they'll also work on Sundays. In such cases, the platform gives us an option to go and configure it according, right? I can go and create one cycle for throughout 7 days work days, let's say, for example, or another cycle wherein I can go and skip any holidays are there, etc., etc., right? Then what we do, once we create leave structures, we will assign those leave structure to an employee, right? For example, if I have an employee base who works only on morning shift and there is a dedicated employee base who works on evening shift, basis that we'll go and assign morning or evening according, right? So now we have came back to an employee interface wherein all I have to do is I have to go and click on the shifts wherein I can see the calendar view. It's like my next month visibility. How do my work looks like, right? For example, these are different shifts that are available, and let's say there's a legend also. For example, here I'm working on general shift, on 18th or 19th I'm working on night shift, and let's say I have a change. Let's say if I want to have a change on specific day for some reason, right? I can go ahead and request for shift change also. In that case, all I have to do is I have to go and click on a particular shift, and then I can go and request for a shift change, right? Yeah. And as soon as I request a shift change, what happens? I do have my manager, let's say, right? So it will send an approval notification again to a manager, and manager will get a shift change notification wherein he can log in and go ahead and approve and reject shift approvals, right? For example, yeah, this is the manager view. Of course, manager also will have his own shift. He can go ahead and visit or see his own shifts, and the request that we had requested, right, as an employee, it will be posted to manager, and manager can go ahead and approve or reject those leave requests, right? Okay. Then that is it about leave management and shift management. In shift management, if I again brief all about shift generation, the HR admin go and configure shifts. As an employee, I can go and view my shift in a calendar view. I can go and request for shift change, and as soon as I request for shift change, manager will go ahead and approve or reject it basis the requirement, right? Now, if I talk a little about our next module, it is attendance management, right? So when I say attendance management, every company tracks their employee attendance via various systems. In our case, we have biometric device. In different companies, they might have different tools. For example, let's say, what if a company goes and tracks their project management system for their employee time, check-in, check-out, etc. In such cases, we know Salesforce as a platform has capabilities to go and integrate with any external system. And let's assume like this, we have a centralized repository where every employee attendance has been tracked. So in this case, let's say we can integrate the Salesforce platform to an external system. For example, biometric devices, it will have its own dedicated server wherein we can pull the employee attendance, trackings, etc. back to Salesforce. And basis the information that is stored on Salesforce, it will have a clear view like this, wherein employee can log in and see a simple dashboard, right? For example, if you scroll down, Vijay, so this is the working hours. It's a simple dashboard. Basically, it shows few metrics of an employee. First thing is you can go and see working hours. So we have a small legend there. It says if it shows in green, which means that is greater than 8 hours. It is employee's work for that particular day, right? Similarly, we have different options here. For example, it shows in light pink color. That means that employee was absent for that day. Similarly, we have attendance trend. Again, it's a simple dashboard wherein it shows on February what was my present number of days or absent number of days, etc. And if you scroll down, Vijay, yeah. So we have as a, let's say if I am Vijay, right? If I have logged into my portal, I do see a calendar view wherein I can go and see what number of hours I worked on a particular day, right? And as part of shift regularization, in case, let's say I have worked for 6 hours, but somehow the system is not showing 6 hours in that day. Let's say if it shows 4 hours, in that case, I have an option to go and request for a regularization changes, right? For example, I can go and say to my manager, I didn't work for 4 hours, rather I worked for 6 hours, right? So again, as soon as we do this, it will send a approval notification for the corresponding manager, wherein manager can go and just click on the regulation approvals tab. He can go and see whether it's a really a 8 hours shift or whether I have to basically approve or reject it, right? Yeah, I think with that, I have covered leave, shift and attendance management. That is it from my end. I'll be handing it over to Sandeep for PMS. Thank you.